Today, we're exploring every major U.S. tank and armored vehicle used in the Pacific Theater, from the Stuart and Sherman to the amphibious machines that carried Marines onto the beaches of Tarawa, Saipan, Iwo Jima, and Okinawa. The infantry support tanks, M3 Stuart and M5 Stuart. We start with the light armor. The M3 and later M5 Stuart served as America's primary light tanks during the early years of the Pacific War. Fast, reliable, and relatively easy to transport, Stuarts supported infantry assaults, conducted reconnaissance missions, and provided mobile firepower during jungle operations. Although their 37mm gun struggled against reinforced Japanese fortifications, the Stuart's mobility made it valuable during the war's early campaigns. Yet the Stuart was not the only early war tank fighting in the Pacific. M3 Lee. The M3 Lee is often associated with North Africa, but it also served in the Pacific. Armed with a powerful hull-mounted 75mm gun and a turret-mounted 37mm cannon, it provided American forces with significantly greater firepower than the Stuart. Lee tanks saw combat in New Guinea and other early Pacific operations before gradually being replaced by the more versatile Sherman. M4 Sherman. The M4 Sherman became the dominant American tank throughout the Pacific War. Reliable, mechanically robust, and armed with a versatile 75mm gun, it accompanied U.S. Army and Marine units across countless island campaigns. However, Japanese defensive doctrine relied heavily on caves, tunnels, reinforced bunkers, and concrete pillboxes. Destroying these positions often required something more specialized than conventional tank guns. Sherman flamethrower tanks. To solve this problem, American engineers developed the series of Sherman flamethrower-equipped Shermans. The most famous was the M4A3 POA CWS H5, developed in Hawaii for Marine Corps operations. Alongside it served the M4A3R3 and later M4A3R8 flamethrower tanks. These terrifying vehicles could project streams of burning fuel directly into caves, bunkers, and defensive tunnels. Japanese defenders feared them immensely. Marine crews affectionately nicknamed these vehicles Zippos from the famous cigarette lighter. Sherman dozer tanks. Many Shermans were also converted into engineering vehicles equipped with bulldozer blades. These Sherman dozers played a critical role at Peleliu, Iwo Jima, and Okinawa. They cleared obstacles, filled anti-tank ditches, created roads, and helped infantry advance through heavily fortified terrain. Their contribution often proved just as important as the gun tanks themselves. M24 Chaffee. Late in the war, the new M24 Chaffee began replacing the Stuart. Featuring improved armor, better suspension, and a powerful 75mm gun, it represented a significant leap forward in light tank design. Only limited numbers reached the Pacific before Japan surrendered, but it demonstrated the direction American armored warfare was heading. M26 Pershing. The Pershing arrived even later. Designed as a heavy tank capable of combating Germany's most powerful armored vehicles, a small number reached the Pacific before the war ended. Their combat service was extremely limited, but technically they became the most powerful American tanks present in the Pacific Theater. Armored fire support. The island campaigns demanded mobile artillery capable of accompanying advancing infantry. This led to the deployment of specialized self-propelled guns. M8 howitzer motor carriage. Built on the Stuart chassis, the M8 howitzer motor carriage mounted a short-barreled 75mm howitzer. Its mobility allowed it to provide immediate fire support during assaults and landing operations. M7 Priest. The M7 became America's primary self-propelled artillery vehicle. Armed with a 105mm howitzer, it delivered sustained bombardment against enemy positions while keeping pace with advancing forces. M10 Wolverine. Although designed as a tank destroyer, the M10 rarely fought enemy armor in the Pacific. Instead, its powerful 3-inch gun proved extremely effective against bunkers, pillboxes, and fortified positions. In many operations, it functioned more as an armored assault gun than a traditional tank destroyer. M12 Gun Motor Carriage. A smaller number of M12 gun motor carriages also served during the war. Mounting a massive 155mm gun, they provided heavy, long-range firepower against hardened targets. M40 Gun Motor Carriage. The M40 arrived very late in the conflict. Its combat service in the Pacific was minimal, but it represented the next generation of American self-propelled artillery. Amphibious assault vehicles. No vehicles were more important to Pacific warfare than America's amphibious fleet. Without them, many island invasions would have been impossible. LVT-1. The first landing vehicle tracked, or LVT, was originally designed as a rescue and cargo vehicle. Unarmored and vulnerable, nevertheless it proved invaluable during early amphibious operations. LVT-2 Water Buffalo. The improved LVT-2 introduced greater carrying capacity and improved performance. It became one of the most widely used amphibious vehicles of the war. LVT-3 Bushmaster. The LVT-3 featured a redesigned engine layout and improved troop compartment. Many Marines considered it one of the best amphibious vehicles of the conflict. LVT-4. The LVT-4 introduced a rear loading ramp, dramatically improving the speed at which troops and supplies could be unloaded under fire. This became one of the most important innovations in amphibious warfare. LVT-A-1. To provide armored fire support during landings, the Americans developed the LVT-A-1. Equipped with the turret of a Stuart light tank, it brought armored firepower directly onto the beach. The vehicle saw extensive combat at Saipan, Peleliu, and numerous other amphibious assaults. LVT-A-4. The LVT-A-4 replaced the Stuart turret with a powerful 75mm howitzer. This gave assault forces much-needed artillery support during the critical moments of a landing. At Tarawa, Iwo Jima, and Okinawa, and countless other operations, these armored amphibians often became the first American armored vehicles ashore.
Utility, transport, and specialized vehicles. Not every armored vehicle carried a large gun. Many served as transport, recovery, and support vehicles. Duck. Known universally as the Duck, the DUWK was a 6-wheeled amphibious truck capable of transporting cargo directly from ship to shore. It dramatically simplified logistics during amphibious operations. M2 half-track. The M2 half-track provided mobility for reconnaissance units, support personnel, and weapons crews. Its combination of wheels and tracks allowed it to navigate difficult terrain while offering limited protection. M3 half-track. The larger M3 half-track became one of the most widely used armored transport vehicles of the war. It carried troops, hauled supplies, and towed artillery across countless Pacific battlefields. M18 Multiple Gun Motor Carriage. One of the most formidable half-track variants was the M16 MGMC. Armed with 4 50-caliber machine guns, it was originally intended for anti-aircraft defense. However, crews quickly discovered it was devastating against ground targets as well. Its overwhelming firepower earned it a fearsome reputation. M8 Greyhound. Although more common in Europe, the M8 Greyhound armored car also saw limited service in parts of the Pacific. Its speed and reconnaissance capabilities made it useful where terrain allowed. M29 Weasel. Originally developed for snow operations, the M29 Weasel proved surprisingly effective in muddy and difficult Pacific terrain. Its low ground pressure allowed it to travel where heavier vehicles often became stuck. T-16 Universal Carrier. American-produced versions of the Universal Carrier also appeared in the Pacific. Small and versatile, they served in transport and support roles. M32 Recovery Vehicle. When tanks became disabled on beaches, in jungles, or on volcanic terrain, recovery vehicles became essential. The M32 recovery vehicle, based on the Sherman chassis, recovered damaged armor and returned valuable vehicles to service. Without vehicles like the M32, many tanks would simply have been abandoned. In the Pacific, success wasn't determined by the heaviest gun, but by the most adaptable machine. From the Stuart and Sherman to the flamethrower Zippos, from the amphibious LVTs to the indispensable ducks and recovery vehicles, every machine played a unique role in overcoming the challenges of island warfare. Together, these tanks and armored vehicles carried American forces across thousands of miles of ocean and helped drive the island-hopping campaign all the way to the doorstep of Japan. Next time, we look at the unique weapons of every U.S. trainer, glider, and autopilot aircraft used in World War II.